Right, today's video is on the ultimate swivel base setup. We've sold swivel bases for years. We've sold the Rusty Lee singles and the doubles and a few other bits that tie that whole process in. Well, Rusty Lee's just brought out a sliding swivel with a few benefits, which we will show you as we put them in, and then a couple of other things that make swivel bases really easier and just more functional and better to use. So Mitch over there, currently checking his Instagram, no doubt. So we've got the standard Rusty Lee single swivel seat base. He'll show you how to fit that. So these work with a leisure battery. That's a question we get asked quite a lot, as long as your leisure battery is not too deep, if you've got a nice slimline one, but most people put them in the transporter anyway. Over here we've got the bracket for the lower handbrake. There's a few different versions of these on the market, but as is slightly more than the others, but it is by far the best quality. It's the way it's built and welded. They just don't flex. The cheap ones flex when you try and put your handbrake on and off. That's the lower handbrake, so that's to help you lower your handbrake for when your seat swivels. And then this cover here is so you don't have to cut down your existing one. It just looks nice on OEM, so when you lower your handbrake you don't have all the garish mechanism and stuff that you'd see. But again, Mitch will show you how to fit that. And then over here, this is the new Rusty Lee sliding swivel seat base. So everybody probably knows about these because we've advertised and done videos on the Rusty Lee swivels before, but this is a new sliding version. So great idea. The beauty of this is there's other similar ones on the market, but the reason why I like this one so much, or we're so impressed with it, is the fact that all the lock-in points are spring mounted, so as you unscrew them they pop up like that, and everything's all stays in there, everything stays in place. And the other beauty of this one is all the fixings are on the outside, so when you've got your double seat base, we'll show you this in more detail later, but when you've got your double swivel seat, your double seat, sorry, in position there, you can access the inside of the seat, and you don't have to like go fish around inside to access these to be able to swivel the base. So I'm going to hand you over to Mitch now, if he's finished checking his Instagram. They will do an install video to show you how this whole setup works.
Hello, today's video, as Andy said, we're doing the swivel seat bases, the double and the single. So we'll get started by taking the double seat out. So our first step is we've got to undo the 8 16mm nuts. As you can see, they're around here. Also, you'll need to pop off these trims to gain access to the others and some wires. So we'll grab our ratchet. So there's our nuts undone. And then we've got a bracket with a T30 screw to undo for all the wires and plugs. So there's 2 bolts that hold it in, one at the top of the bracket, one at the bottom. Get those undone. And then on some models, such as the T6.1, they've got various extra connectors that you'll need to unplug relating to the seat. And then once you've done that, you can take your seat out. Next, remove the seat. I'm going to get both seats stripped at the same time. So the next step is I'm going to grab a 13mm, and then we're going to undo the 4 bolts to hold the seat down to the seat base. So you've got 2 at the back and then 2 at the front of the seat. You may find you need to pump your seat up a bit to gain access. With the 4 fixings undone for the seat, you'll find that you most likely do have some wires to unplug. And then you can lift out your seat. See, this one's a little bit lighter. So now we've got both seats out, we're going to do the handbrake relocation. So we've got to lower it down. We have a bracket for this, which I'll show you how to install. Obviously, if you've got a manual, make sure your vehicle's in a gear or it's secure, it's not going to roll away when you set your handbrake off, because we're going to dismantle this. If you're in auto, it's a little bit easier because you can leave it in park. So I've got a trim tool or a hose tool here, because there's a little clip that holds this panel on here. So I'll be opening the clip up to allow me to slide off this cover. As you can see here, here's your clip. Ideally, what you need to do is get in there and just bend it open slightly and then slide away. This part just lifts up and out it comes. So now with the handbrake exposed, you've got 2 13mm nuts here, which we're going to undo. With those 2 nuts removed, you can lift out the handbrake, like so. So now we're going to install the bracket and get it all built back up. With the bracket done up, just check you've got clearance. Sometimes you've got a little bit of play in them and you find that they will foul. So just, like I say, nice and easy, loads of room. So now we can install the fully assembled bracket, like so. and then use the original nuts onto the bracket. Tighten up the nuts, and again check the operation. You'll find that with some vans you're going to have to adjust this. Ideally I would recommend adjusting the one underneath the van, which is about here underneath the vehicle. That way you can use the easily accessible adjuster for when your handbrake stretches and you find you need to tighten it slightly. Next step, we're installing our handbrake cover. As simple as clipping it in, like so. So with the cover installed, we now need to put on the handbrake handle, but you're going to find you're going to need to trim it slightly. So what I'll do now is I'll put it on, do a test fit, find out how far I need to trim, and then I'll get it cut and show you how far I've cut. You'll find that everyone would do it slightly differently, and then we can get it to clip on nicely. So as you can see, it's already quite tight in here, and the bracket is in the way of installing this nicely. So I'll start measuring up and get it cut. So now we've got this cover marked out, I'm going to cut it out and then do another test fit, and we might find we need to cut some more out, but we'll just keep on going until it fits nicely.
We're in.
So I'll take it back out now, just clean up where I've cut and then do a final fit. Okay, so because I've got the Alpine sub kit in my van, these bolts need undoing because the new swivel plate's going to go on and there's going to be a bit of interference, so just gaining a bit more room. So then when we put the seat base on, it will clamp it back down anyway. Next, we're going to install our single seat base. Make sure you don't trap any of the wiring, and it will drop into the original locations for the factory seat, like so. And then we'll spin it slightly just so we gain access to it, do up all the bolts. With the seat base now located, we'll put our nuts and bolts in and get them done up. Right, now we're at the stage we can take off the supplied nuts and bolts, and then they'll be used to install the seat to the seat base. So popping our seat onto the base, try and get it lined up roughly, remembering to plug in any wiring that was unplugged beforehand. So using the supplied fixings, we've got the nut and bolt and 2 washers. We'll get the seat lined up and start bolting it in. So I'm putting the bolt in from the bottom, and then the nut will sit on top. So I'm just loosely putting them in to start with, just to get them all lined up. Now with all 4 loosely in, we can get them done up. So I'm using a 5mm Allen key and a 13mm socket. Here we go. So moving back over to the passenger seat, we've got all these plugs that came off the bracket that sat like that. We need to actually get rid of this bracket and then tuck all the plugs under the carpet or rubber floor, whichever you've got. So it's just a case of you unplug them, like so, and then you'll need to unplug it out of the mount and then plug them all back in. If you do these one by one, that way you won't get them mixed up. So we can get rid of that bracket and then just neatly tuck these out the way. There's a channel within the bodywork of the van, so you've got a bit of room that you can put everything through. It doesn't matter that you've got a slight lump.
It's a hospital job now.
Yeah. So the next step will be removing these 4 studs. So with that, you need a 22mm socket, ideally a deep one. And it's just a case of slide them over and then undo. Grab your seat base. It's quite heavy. And drop it in the right area, like so. And then we'll start installing the nuts and bolts, get it lined up, tighten it all down, and I'll show you how it works. So you get a few bolts and washers with the kit. First thing we're going to do is put a washer on each of the front studs. I've undone these locking screws to allow me to slide this lower section into the right location. As you can see, lines up with all the factory studs, and then we'll use the original nuts on here, and then the bolts that come with it there for the back half, which you'll gain access to by sliding this a little bit further out, and you'll use these 4 holes here. Okay, now we're lined up, we'll start putting all the nuts on the front, just again loosely, so we can get it all perfectly lined up with all the 8 nuts and bolts. Grab your bolts and drop them in, and then thread in, again keeping it loose for now. So now with the 16mm socket we're going to do the front, and it's a 17mm for the rear. So now we've got the nuts and bolts done up, the seat plate is secure. As you can see, we've got a nice sliding mechanism. This is currently facing the other way around, so I'm just going to show you the different settings you can have it at. So we'll start off with the original location, the driving position. So you've got the 5 locators for when you're driving. You press these down, get it all lined up. They'll lock in place, like so. And then if you want to bring it out, you slide it all the way out. You can then do a full 180. And you have the option now of locating it here by this single center tightening screw. So that's now located, so that's a fixed position if you ever wanted to slide the seat out and sit, say whether you've got a table there or something, and then you can undo it again and slide it all the way back. Again, you've got the same single fixing point. There we go. So now we're in a position where the seat slid all the way back, but facing towards the back of the van. So you've got 3 different ways of having this seat, so it's nice and diverse. And then we'll do our next step of installing the seat to the plate. Where are you, studs?
I'm right here.
So with the seat now installed on the seat plate, we can get the 17mm nuts that were supplied with the kit, get those installed, and then we're done. Out of the way.
A lot of room in here.
Come on, get out of the way.
Sorry.
So now we've got the seat adjusters undone. I'll show you the different positions. So we're sliding the seat all the way back. Again, I've got a rubber floor, so it's a little bit harder to slide back. You do your 180. And then slide it back. Undoing this screw. And then we'll slide it forward. There's different positions you have to get it in to secure it.
Makes it look comfortable.
I am.
Comfortable?
Yeah.
So there we go, that's all installed now. So a couple of things I don't know if Mitch had mentioned. These won't work if you've got a heated seat because of the wiring. So bear that in mind. But there's no swivel seat base out there that does, because of obviously the seat has to swivel and you'd stretch your wiring. So the other thing I just thought I'd show you, because we had an inquiry about this, is how you lock it in position. You can lock it in this position here, so slid out. So this is if you are, you've got your camper table here, or you've got U-shaped furniture set up, or the Avano tables that we've shown previously. You want it set up this way, so that's the biggest kind of bonus of having this sliding swivel seat, other than they're so much easier to swivel. You can lock it back so it's right back in this position, and then obviously you can spin it around and lock it back in the driving position. You cannot drive with it like this, and you cannot drive with it locked back there. So when you're locking it into this position, thankfully you've got this nice access hole here, and those metal tubes that are underneath here that are going down into the vehicle, that's what you're lining it up with. So this here would need to slide that way towards the seat a bit, and then if you just keep applying pressure, you'll feel it slot into that hole that's just there. Then that will lock it into the first position in this place, and then it won't be able to move backwards and forwards when you sit on it, if you want to lock it in. And then when you're locking it in the back position, you're actually lining up that one there with this one here. So same again, when you slide it back, you just apply some pressure to this as you move the seat backwards and forwards, and you're lining that pin up with that there, and as you slide it back, you'll feel it locate its way in, and then you can twist it to do it up. Thankfully you've got this nice spring action, so you're not going to lose the bolt, or it's going to fall out or be somewhere else in the vehicle. But you just apply some pressure on it, lock in, and then you can just lock that one in. You don't need to lock them all in, you only need one to hold it in place so it doesn't slide backwards and forwards. So all these things that Mitch has fitted here are available on our website, and also very soon on the Transport HQ Europe website, so for left-hand drive version. So this seat is currently M1 crash tested. In the future, Lee will get it TUV approved. We also have a left-hand drive version which we're going to test in one of our European vehicles. The lower handbrake bracket and the plastic covers for the handbrake have all been tested, and we will be shipping the left-hand drive version over to Transport HQ Europe, so everything is available shortly for left-hand drive and right-hand drive. These are all available now on the UK website for right-hand drive. They are selling really fast though, so they're quite often out of stock. I think they're currently out of stock depending when you're watching this video. On the listing for where the item is, you can pop your email address in and you'll get stock notifications when stuff comes back in stock. Some of the bits we have, but I think at the moment the swivel seat base is sold out because they're selling out as fast as they come in. Hopefully you found that video useful. Whether you're looking for a sliding swivel or a standing swivel, definitely consider the Rusty Lee range. But quality build, really well finished, easy to use. Please do do press that like button if you're thinking of getting a swivel seat base, or you've already got one, or you want to upgrade one, or you know anybody else that's considering getting a swivel seat base, or your conversion company's working on a van for you and you think this is a swivel seat base that might suit your needs. Please do share this video with them. Please do subscribe to the channel. Loads more videos coming. I say this every time, but we're constantly trying to aim to get a video out every week wherever possible. So please do subscribe to the channel and click that little bell to get notifications when new videos come out. Another one on suspension coming, and also on the flush sliding windows that have been in this van now for a while. That video is ready to go, so that'll probably come out next week. Hope you've enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.
So adjusting the handbrake underneath the van as mentioned, just thought we'd show you how to do this. So at the moment, as you can see, it's quite loose just because we've relocated the handbrake into a lower position. So we need to move this nut further towards the front of the vehicle, and then it will adjust the handbrake to the right sort of tension. Grabbing an adjustable or some grips, you want to pop it onto this part of the cable. And then I've got a 10mm spanner to adjust the nut. So with the nut adjusted all the way to the end on this particular van, we'll find that we might need to do some minor adjustment in the cab now, but at least if there's any cable stretching in the future, you don't have to get back under the van, you can do it all from the front.